Eyes on Oburu as he chairs ODM meeting amid divisions. It's a story there on the front page of the Star. It is also on the front page of the Daily Nation. Raila party in crisis meeting as Oburu takes charge. Same story on the front page of Taifa Leo. Mazungumzia Oburu na zile shida zake ambazo ako nazo kwenye chama cha ODM na mkutano ambao umeandaliwa wa asubuhi ya leo. And ODM is the second biggest party in parliament currently, only second to UDA. Probably, if you look at terms of party loyalty, it is the biggest party that we have currently. But we've seen the history of parties once the leader exits, parties like KANU, parties like PNU and all others, where the leader has ascended probably to the highest office in the land. And once they exit, and that becomes the beginning of the end. And this may just be a party issue, but what does it mean for Kenya going forward? Elsewhere, if you look at the elections in Tanzania, the parties still remain, Chadema, CCM, in Uganda, NRM, they're still there. But in Kenya, we have these short-lived parties because once a party leader exits, then it becomes very difficult to hold the parties together. Bwana Kirwa, what is your assessment of that kind of trend?
Well, first of all, it reminds me of Cuba, where the younger brother left the scene and elder brother took over the country, that is the Castros, Fidel and I think Raul. So the younger brother has left and the elder brother has taken over ODM, a situation that I feel they should have allowed proper succession plan where one of the deputy party leaders, whether it's Ososi or the governor of Mombasa, to take over the party in a way that we don't allow it to make it look like it's a family business. I'm saying so with a lot of respect for Oburu, but I feel there is something a bit strange about this kind of takeover. I have a feeling there was another cartoon that you depicted, the one where Babu Wino is also eyeing the ODM, and somebody else who is not an ODM member, although he was a founder member of ODM, is also eyeing the big shoes left by Raila. It confirms some of the researches that have been done in Africa that political parties are not necessarily institutions that are its own momentum. They are grafted around in an individual such as Raila, or a coalition of communities in a way that they come together to form some kind of understanding, which is short-term. And no wonder in Kenya for the last 25 years, no political entity has gone for elections twice in the same format. Remember, there was NAC, there was PNU, there was NASA on the other side, and there was Jubilee and URP, TNA and URP. And now in the last part one election, it's a Jubilee team that won. And that Jubilee team now morphed into something. There is Jubilee, and also there is Kenya Kwanza, which is part of the old Jubilee. This confirms to us that parties have not been institutionalized. And that's a danger to democracy, because if you don't institutionalize parties, you are allowing even external players to play into that space occupied by ODM and even cause a lot of confusion. If I was to make a recommendation to ODM, I would tell them, stand on your own, perhaps also run a presidential candidate. You may not win, but who knows? It may be on a route to winning the future elections. Because if they were to subordinate themselves to any individual, then ODM is going to shrink. Today, I think they have over 80 members of parliament. But if they were to subordinate themselves, be it William Ruto or any other individual, and not run a candidate, they are going to shrink perhaps up to perhaps 40 seats or even lower than that number. Because Raila was just, he had sold his name beyond the borders of Luo land. And also I want to disabuse the Luo nation not to take ODM as their party. Let ODM belong to Kenyans, because if you are to do statistics, only 20% of the votes ODM has been enjoying come from Luo Nyanza. So 80% come from the rest of the country. So for anybody to tell Sifuna or any other person that if you are not interested in doing the things the way we do it, we are going to eject you from ODM, is abusing the very institution of ODM and abusing the legacy of Raila Odinga, because I don't think Raila Odinga would have wanted something that if you don't agree with him or mainstream thinking, you are going to be ejected. As far as national politics is concerned, I feel ODM, if they organize themselves very well and they are able to manage their internal struggles, they will still influence the next election. But if they don't, then they might break into almost 3 pieces.
You're right.
3 pieces is, there are those called moderates, there are those called rebels, and there are those in between, people like Governor James Orengo and Governor Anyang' Nyong'o, who are mature, who are members of ODM, and who I believe one of them, not because they come, they are Luos, but one of them could have taken the position of ODM for purposes of continuity and some measure of stability for the party. Otherwise, it can be torn into so many pieces by those of us who are watching from outside.
Yes, and it should be noted that ODM is, I think, the oldest party that still has a kind of strength in parliament, 20 years strong. Of course, parties like KANU still exist, but with the levels of influence dramatically waning since the exit of their leaders. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we continue looking at this. I see people daily already asking the question, is Oburu's coronation jeopardizing ODM's national image? And this is what we're examining today. ODM party, remember, we have to discuss parties because they are